Hello, my name is Rick Moore, and welcome back to another episode of Right. And today I'm interviewing author Tom Frye on his book Havelock, the Great American Novel. So, you ready to go, Tom?
Yep, I'm ready to
All
roll.
right, right. All right. How does the story begin, and what are its long-term consequences?
Well, this story was written back in the 70s, actually started back in the 70s. I wrote Wings Like Eagles. That was my first book ever. And it was during the time Easy Rider and Billy Jack and those
Oh,
movies were so prominent, so I wrote about a Native American who was a bus driver, and he gets accused of drunken driving because the real
oh my.
yeah, the real culprit is a biker who skids in front of him, and he's drunk, and he rides his Harley right in front of the bus, and the bus goes off the road. And the main character in the story is Rain Nelson. He's 14 years old, and he likes Ben Blackbull, the driver, because he's a dog trainer, and he has a
Right.
rescue ranch. And Rain and his brother were able to work with him at his ranch, and
Ah,
Jesse's his little brother, and Jesse gets his arm broke during this crash. The bus goes off the road and ends up in a cow pond, and yeah, that's how the book starts. And the blame falls on the Native American Lakota dog handler Ben Blackbull.
so the blame falls on a Native American, right? Who pointed
Right.
the finger at him?
Oh, the boy who 16-year-old kid who rode his motorcycle directly at the bus. Um, His name is Jack Holland, and he's the son of Dawes Holland, who is the president of the Elders Den Biker Club.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Oh my.
and Rain's dad is the president of the Outlaws Biker Club, and there's a rivalry between the two clubs.
Now, how exactly did he point the finger at Ben?
Well, he had a bottle on him, and he poured it on Ben. He poured all this whiskey on him, and
Okay, okay.
so when the cop gets there, the sheriff Baxter, he right away smells it and
Oh, so Ben smelled like a brewery, right?
brewery. Yeah, that's what he says. He said you smell like a brewery.
All
So,
right. Describe the fight that took place between Jack and Ben and Rain's part in it.
well, Jack pulls a knife on Ben, and Ben is
He was drunk, right?
yeah, he's drunk.
Okay. He
Ben has
pulls a
been in
knife
the
on him.
military, and so he knows some karate moves and some restraint moves, but he deflects the knife, um, and Rain is standing there, and he sees this thermos bottle laying on the ground, so he picks it up and he heaves it, hits Jack in the head with it, and conks him out, and actually saves Ben from being stabbed by the knife.
Ah, okay. Now, describe, if you would, the for the audience, Sheriff Clyde Baxter and his confrontation with Ben.
He's a real redneck. He's straight from a Billy Jack movie. He's 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 a badass, and all that old prejudice. I mean, we got racism now, but in the old days it was prejudice. You're prejudiced, and
Right?
so all that prejudice comes back, and I fit that in the story because this sheriff is just he's totally against Native Americans and
Oh
black
boy.
people, and he's
Yep.
just a redneck, and he smells the booze on Ben, and he is told by Jack, who called the police, that Ben was swerving all over the road and drunk and driving, and there were several kids injured in the crash, and so it gets
Right.
serious as the story unfolds.
All right. What kind of a confrontation did Ben have with the sheriff, though?
Well,
Physical or was it verbal?
it was verbal, but the sheriff wanted to move one of the boys who had a broken leg, and Ben says, "No, don't do that. Wait until the techs get here." And the sheriff just says, "Shut up, Black Bull," and moves the kid anyway. Picks him up and carries him to his car and puts him on the back of the car.
With a
That,
broken leg?
yeah, and that kid eventually dies
Oh,
because the infection in his leg got to him, and he dies. And so once again, it makes it more serious. This bus wreck.
well, that would be serious, I guess, right?
Yeah,
if you kill a kid by, well, by transporting him
Yeah,
improperly,
right.
I guess that would, right? No,
Rain's little brother, Jesse, broke his arm in the whole thing, and that's pretty bad in itself. But he
right.
leads him up onto the road and leads him over to where Ben is, and he tries to defend Ben and say that's not what happened at all. And the sheriff grabs him and slams him up against his car and says, "Shut your mouth." I already heard the story, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, he's a bad dude.
yeah, he is. The sheriff really sounds bad, actually.
He's a bully with a badge.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to describe him. Now, Chase, when asked who the bike belonged to, that crashed in that the bus almost ran over, signaled that he didn't know, and he kept his own son from telling the sheriff.
Yeah,
What gives? Why would he do such a thing?
biker protocol is you don't talk to the cops. You never talk to the cops, and so um, that's Chase is putting that law in place, but he's also making his son be quiet about because Rain pipes up and says that's not what happened at all. That Ben didn't do anything. It wasn't Ben's fault, and Chase says, you know, shut your mouth, and he takes it up with him later because he's not
That's
supposed to
really
talk.
biker protocol, not to
Oh yeah,
talk to the cops.
oh yeah. You don't snitch. You don't narc. Um, you,
Wow,
you don't betray anybody by telling the cops anything.
wow. So they told the cops nothing then.
Yeah. Rain wants to defend Ben and get him off of this charge of driving drunk, and Chase doesn't want that because there is a rivalry between these two clubs, and Chase knows there's going to be trouble if he tells that sheriff that that bike belonged to Jack Holland, then Dawes and all his club is going to come down hard on the Outlaws.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right. Now, what was a story that, well, first off, Dawes comes to the scene, right?
right.
Describe his grudge against Chase. Why did he have a grudge against him?
Well, Chase has this odd rule that there's no drugs involved in his club, and it conflicts with the Elders Den because they're into dog fights, they're into drugs, they're into anything illegal they can do, and so they wanted to ban the Outlaws at one time, and they even went to the Hells Angels in Omaha to try to get them banned and you know, make them nomads, and
Really?
yeah,
What's a
and
nomad, by the way?
oh, it's a biker that doesn't have a club, doesn't belong to anybody. Is detached from a club, um,
Oh,
and they ride alone. And but Chase and Dawes had a fight, and Rain was there when he was a little kid and saw it. And he said he really wouldn't want to be on either end of those two guys fighting because um, Chase actually broke his hand, but he also broke Dawes' jaw in the punch that ended the fight. And yeah, it was kind of a bloody mess.
so they were brutal fighters, in other
Oh
words.
yeah, oh yeah.
God, that's, I can understand the grudge against Chase now. Now, what was the story that Jack told the sheriff about the event, or his father to tell the sheriff?
Yeah, that Ben Blackbull had caused the crash. That he was drunk and he was swerving across the road, and it was all his fault. And so um, later they arrest Ben, and Ben's arrested,
He
and that's
arrested Ben.
Rain really wants to tell what happened, but Chase won't let him.
Now, Sheriff Baxter arrests Ben, right?
Right?
And what was Rain thinking about the event? Was he thinking of breaking protocol and telling them,
Oh yeah.
or what went through his mind?
Well, he was mad at his dad. He's, you know, thinking, "Gosh, you're just like everybody else. You stereotype, you know, natives and stereotyping Ben that he was a drunk,
Right?
and of course, Chase punishes Rain for mouthing off like he did because
Oh,
you don't break rules, you know."
that was a violation of the rules then for him, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. After the event. when Chase and Rain are kind of in the clear, they
Right.
leave the scene and they stop at a place and they say, what was Chase's reaction to it and why? Was it because he didn't back down from Dawes? Rain didn't back down from Dawes. Another reason.
Right. He doesn't want to have another war going on between the outlaws and the elders' den. This would start a war right away if his son accused Jack's or Dawes' son Jack of being the cause of that wreck, and so he pummels Rain and pops him one in the face,
Wow.
and trying to make sure that his rules enforced. He's a hard nose. He's
How old is Rain at the time?
14.
14, huh? So he pops him in the face.
And the fight gets interrupted by Beef Torrey. Beef is a big, brawny kid, the son of the state trooper that lives in the town. The state trooper and Chase grew up together. Big Mike
Okay.
Torrey and Chase rode together back in the day. And Beef mentions his dad that he wouldn't like this, and he says, besides, Rain doesn't even belong to the outlaws, so why you punish him for breaking biker protocol when he's not even a biker?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, and Chase doesn't like it. He doesn't like to be put in his place. Beef also has the pit bull.
Wait, Chase didn't like it because he was put in his place?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. My God.
And when he leaves, Rain spits a stream of blood out and forces himself to grin at Beef and said, like, my dad didn't see me wilter and he didn't show my weakness. But
what reason did the beefy guy give it to, well, what reason did he give to Chase that was kind of amorphous, right?
yeah, he just says, Dad wouldn't like it.
And what did Chase say to that? Because he was really mad about something, right?
Oh, yeah.
But not only about getting put in his place, but something else.
Well, there's a pit bull that Beef has with him. It's Molly, and Molly has some babies, and Molly was destined to go to the fights, and Chase rescued her and brought her back to town to Sprague, Nebraska, to live at the house of him and his sons, Rain and Jesse. And the outlaw or the elders' den, they want that dog back because they say it's destined for a fight. And yeah, so that's why
contention with him too, right?
Yeah, that's the tension right now between the two biker clubs, and so Chase got reasons to be stern with his kid.
Wow. Now, what was Jesse's relation to his father, as described by Rain?
Well, they're sitting on the Sprague General Store porch, a place I sat at when I was 14, and smoking Marlboro cigarettes and puffing and choking and gagging. But Beef and Rain and Jesse are sitting down on the porch, and Jesse falls asleep because his arm is in a cast. He's just been in the emergency ward, and he's on pain pills, and his head falls in Rain's lap, and Beef looks down and says something about his dad, and Rain says, "Oh, Dad would make a fag comment right now about this because he would think this is a faggy thing for him to do," and he says, Jesse cries if Dad looks at him wrong. He said, so he could never take a beating like I took, And
who was Jesse's dad? Chase?
Oh yeah, Chase. They got different moms.
Oh, that's what they had, different moms, right?
Yeah, Chase Nelson and Rain Nelson and Jesse Dalton. And Jesse Dalton's mom never took the Nelson name, and so yeah, they have to explain that to everybody at the school all the time. That's what Rain's talking about with Beef. He says, that we got different moms, and so I always have to explain why his name is different than mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it seems kind of an odd relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's dysfunctional. Neither mothers are involved. Neither mothers are there. They're both left, and left the biker culture a long time ago.
The mothers left the biker culture?
Yeah, and left the boys with Chase to grow up.
Wow. Did Chase want the boys?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He wants them to grow up to be, like the apple that don't fall too far from the tree.
Right. He treats them pretty badly for sons,
Yeah,
but
he's
that's to toughen them up, I suppose, right? In his mind.
yeah. Rain sits and tells Beef the story about when Chase was a kid and his brother was gay, and he beat him up one night, and the next night the brother killed himself, and so said Dad's had to live with that all his life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That
He's
explains a lot, doesn't it?
oh yeah, yeah. He's had a hard life, this Chase Nelson.
Now, Rain found something that Jack dropped, right? Back in the
Yep,
beginning of the story.
yep.
And what was it? And describe its significance to the story, because that's the core element that begins the whole story.
Right, right. It's in the middle cigar tube. Those cigar tubes that have metal. They put them in metal tubes. It's
Right?
a rolled up map, and it's a map of native relics. And Ben explains to Rain later that it leads to a buffalo robe, a white buffalo robe that a Cheyenne treaty was written on one night, the night the stars fell in 1876, or I don't remember the date, but it's a long time ago, that the Cheyenne made a treaty on this buffalo robe. The
What does
night the
that mean, the
stars,
night the stars fell?
meteorites flew through the sky and they fell, and the Indians saw it, and it was a magical night.
Wow.
Those stars were seen all over the United States too that night. And so Rain talks a little about the buffalo robes, and or Ben does, about the buffalo robes and how white buffalo is holy to the natives. But he also says
A
there's a
white
twist.
buffalo?
Yeah, white
Yep. Okay.
buffalo. Um, Buffalo Calf Woman is a native legend that she turned into a buffalo as she left these two warriors, and they called her Buffalo Calf Woman. And she left a sacred pipe with the natives, the Lakota. The seven council fires of the Lakota had this sacred pipe, but
Right.
this robe is hidden away, and with it is the Sharps rifle of Buffalo Bill and the pistol, a Colt pistol that Custer used at the Battle of the Little Bighorn.
Who used it?
Custer, George Custer.
Custer used it, right?
Yeah, and I contend that Custer shot himself. I've got another story called Res Dog that I wrote, and it talks about the Battle of Little Bighorn. Custer was scared to death that they were going to torture him. And
I can see why.
He was shot in the chest, knocked out of his saddle. He got back in his saddle. He went to ride away, and a 15-year-old Cheyenne girl, clubbed him with her tomahawk and knocked him out of his saddle.
Whoa.
And that's when I say, and then when they found Custer, he had a bullet hole in his chest and a bullet hole in his head. And I contest that he used that pistol on himself.
I can see why he'd use the pistol on himself, because, I mean, the Indians would rather like the revenge, right?
The irony is, Custer had been married to a Cheyenne woman long ago, and these two Cheyenne women on the battlefield.
Wait a minute. He was married to a Cheyenne woman a long time ago,
Yes,
and
he
he was
was.
still fighting the Cheyenne?
Yep. And White Bull was going to mutilate him, and these two women said no, because he's part of our family. You can't do that. And so Custer's laying there dead, of course. But these two women, they took awls, these sharp awls to sew with, and they punctured his eardrums. They said maybe he'll hear better in the afterlife, because he sure didn't learn anything in this life.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There were two Cheyenne women who were with that 15-year-old Cheyenne girl who knocked him out of the saddle.
Wow. Is that how they told the story?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The,
Crazy Horse, they always said Crazy Horse killed Custer. That's not true. Crazy Horse was in the vanguard of the attack. He wasn't around. He wasn't anywhere near Custer, but White Bull was, and White Bull is the one who shot him in the chest and didn't kill him. But I say that Custer probably shot himself. It's a strange thing. I think before he rode into battle, he cut his hair because they called him Pahaska, long hair, and they
Wait,
knew him by
Custer cut his hair before we went into battle?
yeah, yeah. They knew him by his
I never
long
knew
hair.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, Pahaska was Custer, and Buffalo Bill was Pahaska. They're both long haired, and that's
Oh,
what they
darn.
called them. So kind of interesting.
Yeah, it
And
is interesting.
Custer removed his army uniform, and I guess he was in just a regular jacket. His brother was in the battle, and he was dressed the same way. So I think they were trying to confuse the Indians as to who Custer
I
was.
guess so. I guess so, right?
Yeah, yeah. But
Probably with the haircut too, right?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And then the Indians couldn't get his scalp, see, because he cut his hair. So
Right. That
kind
was a
of,
fascinating beginning to the book, Havelock, A Great American Novel. The Great
yeah,
American Novel is really, by the way, the Great American Novel, Havelock, is available in all Amazon stores. So you can order it on Amazon, get it. I'd advise you to get it because it's a very, very interesting book. If that beginning intrigued you, you just got to read the rest of it. And we'll talk with Tom next week a little more in depth about Havelock, the American Novel. Now, Tom, how can everyone get a hold of you that wants to?
Tom J. Frye, TomFrye.org is my website.
TomFrye.org is your website, right?
And I have 12 of my books recorded on audiobooks on audible.com.
All right, good enough.
Yeah, and I've been pitching that a lot because that's what that whole series is on there. Because Havelock is the first book of a so far 5-book series.
Good. I,
Yeah. Well,
I really appreciate your time, Tom, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Havelock, the Great American Novel. Till then, I wish you goodbye.
okay.
All right.